So yeah, I've read over 140 books or something in the last 16 months in and around spirituality and business and whatnot, and I found some very, very interesting things. See, there's a certain sect of people, probably like yourself if you're watching this, that I like to call seekers. People who have this thirst for knowledge and they just want to understand different ways of life, so they'll consume from the greats. They will look at different worldviews to try and understand life, and rightly so. But what I'm going to share with you and explain to you how to find the connections that other people seem to miss. And I'll give you the secret to how exactly I did this, and when I did, everything blew up in my life, my business, my growth, connections, whatever else. Having spent the last decade being a seeker, I've come to understand that wisdom is like a circle. Ideas that you're introduced to in the first part of your journey seem to loop back on you as you get further in, except this time you understand it from a different perspective and you have more depth on it. It's funny, we like to think that the answers we're looking for are going to be hidden away in some complex scroll from 12,000 years ago, but in actuality, the same lessons and answers exist today, just in different shapes and forms. So the secret is being able to see the connective tissue between the two, to see the parallels in seemingly opposite ways of life. What does the monk in the mountain and the founder in Silicon Valley have in common? Probably more than you think. Entrepreneurship is just a personal growth engine in disguise. See, I heard that when I was 17 and it completely changed the way that I thought about business entirely. I realized that business isn't just a pursuit for money, and to some extent it is, but it's not the sole reason. It's mainly a pursuit of yourself and who you want to become. And in one way or another, you end up building something that helps you find meaning in your own life and helps you find meaning in the world. And the funny thing is, this is no different to the spiritual journey. Everyone is seeking meaning, purpose, and clarity, and business just provides the vehicle for you to do that. Am I saying that you have to be a business owner to feel fulfilled and reach enlightenment? No, not at all. But I am saying that at its core, business is about service. Spirituality is also about service. And most founders I know, most people I work with one-to-one, who understand this concept seem to have an edge. Look into why Steve Jobs used to go to India often and go on these long meditations. It's like a cheat code to know that what you're working on is also working on you. There's this book called A Hero with a Thousand Faces by Joseph Campbell, and essentially it breaks down this idea of the hero's journey. All myths and stories across cultures for thousands of years have shared this hero's journey. It's like a universal pattern of transformation that occurs over and over again, where an ordinary person is called to adventure, they face trials, and then they return changed and bearing a gift for the world. Think about the story of Christ or the story of Prometheus. Don't they, to some extent, also mirror the stories of business leaders today, gone through the thick of it in their journey of building their business? Or if you're not comfortable with that, look at your own life. You're on your own individual hero's journey. And so by reading countless books on spirituality myself, like The Untethered Soul, The Tao Te Ching, The Power of Now, and comparing them with the business books I've also read, like Shoe Dog, 0 to 1, Start with Why, I can see the same pattern unfold time and time again. Whether it's the story about the mystic in The Alchemist, or it's about a real story of a founder like Charlie Munger, the themes and lessons can be extrapolated across all fields. The journey is the same. You leave comfort, face chaos, transform, and return with wisdom. So the real problem is in the world that we are conditioned to think that things are black or white, but in reality it's all interconnected, and that's what reading these 140 books have taught me. When you close yourself off to different perspectives, you also put a ceiling on your growth. See, I know some founders personally that close themselves off to spirituality because they think it's some woo-woo worldview, and to be honest, I don't blame them, because there's a lot of negative connotations around spirituality these days. But also I know some people who are deep into their spiritual journey but write off business entirely because they think it's evil, they think it's corporate greed. But what if I told you the magic happens in the integration? That's how I was able to build a 7-figure business at 21. That's how I help my clients navigate their journey. And by the way, if you are interested in doing the same and me working with you one-to-one to break through those internal barriers that you're facing so you can get through to the next level of your journey, tap the first link below and go through the application. You know how it works. I'll contact you personally if you're a right fit. But anyway, my point is, you don't have to read all of the books. The secret to exponential growth is being able to learn from everyone and everything. But that means two things: letting go of your ego and letting go of your judgment. My brand that I'm building, Untethered, literally means to untether yourself from the norm. If you can see the logo here, it means to break the loop. But 99% of people aren't willing to do that. But to the 1% that do, that's the reason they experience massive exponential growth in their business but don't sacrifice their inner fulfillment at the same time. I can't tell you how many founders I personally know, I've personally worked with, or I've read about online that go through this same life cycle. They hit this wall because they're programmed to chase this external goal without ever acknowledging the internal work. So the entrepreneur life cycle goes a little like this. You set an external goal like money, status, or whatever else it is. You build and chase it relentlessly. You achieve it, and this is rare anyway. You begin to feel empty, you start soul searching, and then you begin building something new, but this time from a place of alignment and also acknowledging the things that were in front of you the entire time. How do I know this? Well, I've lived it. I opened a restaurant here in central London at the age of 23, and the 18 months that led up to opening it were actually better than running it. See, what I thought I was seeking once it was open wasn't actually there. So once I exited that, I entered my stage of soul searching, or whatever you want to call it, which led me to what I'm doing right now. In that phase, I dove into the depths of spirituality and I read through all of those books that I mentioned earlier, trying to understand the deeper reason of why we're here and what we're supposed to do. And to my surprise, I learned the same lessons that I had before, but just from a different angle. So I'll give you like 5 quick examples. Business taught me not to focus on the results and to just refine the product and improve the service. Spirituality taught me that detachment from the outcome and attachment to the process instead is how you navigate life storms. Business taught me that the only lever I need to pull is my focused attention. Spirituality taught me that present moment awareness is the only thing that matters for liberation and advancement and living in flow. Business is solving real problems for real people and enjoying it while you're doing it. Spirituality is about living in Dharma, or living in your purpose. Business taught me that my mindset going into things is just as important as the execution. Spirituality teaches as within, so without, and that reality mirrors consciousness. I could go on because these truths are everywhere and they are timeless, whether it's in the Gita, whether it's in the Bible, whether it's in Stoicism, or it's in scaling a startup. Once you've been around the block, you will realize it's the same lessons in different wrapping paper. I actually discussed this at length with my friend Radhi on a new upcoming episode of my show over my main channel if you want to go and subscribe to that. She essentially told me and taught me that perspective is the only element that you can control. So you might be thinking then, where's the best place to learn and to look and to advance and progress? Well, when you come to the understanding that there are no new truths, there are no new ideas, it's just the same universal laws and principles that have been carried throughout time, just given to you in different wrapping paper and in different messengers, including me, then you just have to find what resonates with you and go all in on it. See, your inner makeup is different to mine, which means different things will speak to you. We're all learning the same lessons just from different points of view. But here's the secret sauce that will get you ahead of most people. It's the integration of the inner and the outer. I mentioned Steve Jobs earlier, and I think it's because he embodied this philosophy perfectly. He did the spiritual work, but just as much as that, he did the physical work. If you think about Apple, it wasn't just built on tech. It was built on intuition. It was built on essence, presence, and silence. His mentors weren't just the engineers that worked inside of the company or from other companies. They were also spiritual thinkers, Zen teachers, and yogic texts. I think he designed a life and also a company that reflected these principles in a multi-dimensional way. But was he perfect? Well, far from it. Actually, a lot of people didn't like him, and many people said he wasn't actually a good person. But true wisdom is knowing to take the good and leave the bad. So one of the main lessons I've learned from reading all of these 140 plus books is that there is no separation. We've been taught to think that there are two different things, like red or blue. In fact, they are just colors on the same palette. I could have titled this, I read 141 books on everything, and everything is the same. From spiritual awakenings to business breakthroughs, none of it is separate as long as you're willing to seek the thread. It's all just different expressions of the same journey and same energy. And when you truly understand that and stop compartmentalizing your life and start living it with deeper clarity, with deeper alignment, with deeper purpose, that becomes your edge. Not just building something great, but becoming someone great in the process. I once read in this book that is somewhere in here, that sinners and saints exchange notes, meaning we are all interconnected and we all just wear different masks. What we judge as good or bad are just expressions of the same energy. And the same is true with everything that we believe to be separate. And again, I've spent years learning how to bridge these two worlds together, not just for myself, but the clients I guide every day. So if you're tired of being split in two and you want to learn how to integrate this into your world and go into that next phase, then tap the link below, like I said earlier. But otherwise, I'll leave you with this. Whilst you're on your hero's journey, and the more answers you chase outside of yourself, the more you'll realize you're not actually trying to find something new. You're trying to remember what you already know. It's the right combination of words and messages and timing. That's what makes it click. That's what makes it land. And maybe that is why you're here right now. It's the same reason why I can say something and another YouTuber can say the exact same thing, but because of the way we said it, we find different pockets of an audience. So I still urge you to seek. I still read these books daily. But in all honesty, the truths that you're looking for are found in experiences and your ability to break down the patterns of those experiences and find, like I said in the beginning, that thread. So experience more, build more, and create more. And if this resonated on any level, there's another video I made called You're Just One Shift Away, and the truth is you are. One perspective shift, one decision, one moment of clarity away from changing everything. So you can watch that right here, and I'll see you there.